Hey guys, I'm your girl Queen Snukx. Welcome back to my channel. You are now tuning into Real Talk with Queen Snukx, Season 1. From that time, I believe I was between 5 and 7 now at this age. And I say 5 and 7 because I don't know exactly what age it was, but I can remember what happened like it happened yesterday. So I remember my cousin coming over after finding out they can get money for me. And I remember my cousin coming to get me. We went to go have playtime at her house. At the time, she had just her daughter, which was my cousin. Now, mind you, at this point, my cousins are my aunts. Just to give you a little recap, and my cousin that took me in became my mom, so her sisters became my aunts. Her mother became my grandmother, if that all makes sense to you. I mean, I'm sure it will for some, for others, I'll kind of break it down a little bit later on down. But the more you listen to the story, the more you'll be prone to what I'm saying, and you'll catch on. It'll become more fluent for you. So, I remember going over, we playing play dates, which was only like a couple buildings down. We was in the same projects, but it was only a couple buildings down. And we didn't have to cross no streets and nothing. It was like literally like next door, but not exactly next door. But I remember going over there and we were playing, I was playing with my cousin. It was supposed to be a play date. But instead, we was a play date, but it was a more of a pick my mind, see what was going on inside the home. Because this cousin was also the same cousin who did not want me, you know, because I was this drug baby, or, you know, they got kids and everything. But now that it's money, everybody want me. So, she's picking my brain and she's trying to figure out, like, you know, what's happening in her home, what's going on over there. You know, she's asking me questions like, you know, do I get whoopings, and, you know, what are we eating, and if my cousin leaves us at home alone by ourselves. Like, she's trying to pick up dirt about the other cousin that I was staying with, the one I was calling my mom. And of course, I'm little, so, you know, I'm answering the questions from the best of my knowledge, I'm sure of at this time. So I remember her saying to me, okay, so the next time she leaves out, call me and I'm going to tell you what to do when she leaves out, okay? And of course, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm just like, okay, whatever. You know, I'm trying to get back to playing with my cousin or whatever. She's over here picking my brain about adult things that I probably shouldn't have been getting involved with. But, you know, some adults go and pick kids' brains and ask kids questions because kids are innocent and they're just going to tell what they know, you know, even though we are brought up and we're told not to, you know, what happens in the home stays in the home. You're not to take my information and go back and tell nobody. We still were hard-headed because it wasn't fully instilled in us. It was just said. So, you know, we want to get back to play. You're just going to answer the question and go back to doing what you was doing. So, I played with my cousin, and it was time to go home. And she told me not to say nothing, and that remember what she said. And I was just like, okay. And then I remember her also asking me during that time of questioning, did I want to come stay there with her? And did I like playing with her daughter and things of that nature? And I'm like, yeah, you know, but I'm not thinking like anybody was going to get hurt. I'm not thinking anybody it was going to cause problems. I didn't think any of this. So, at this point, you know, I'm fully not with my mother. I have not seen or heard from my birth mother since. This has all been, you know, happening. Of course, everything is smoothed out because my mom was locked away at this time, I believe, locked away. So I go home, regular day. Time goes by, not just times, days go by, and an opportunity comes up where my cousin, who was my mother, was leaving out. And she gave us the rules, and the rules was, as any home, don't touch the stove, don't touch, you know what? I was 5. I remember, I was 5. Me and my cousin, who was my brother, was 5, and the baby, I want to say, was 3. I want to say we were 2 years apart. 2 or 3 years apart. The baby was either 2 or 3. I know the baby was in Pampers. I was 5. She was only running out to go get some milk, which was down, like, she had to cut a couple buildings to go. So she was going to be gone for like 10 minutes. But anyways, I'm not thinking that's enough time or whatever. The opportunity came up. She left. She told us, don't touch the stove, don't touch the phone, don't touch the door. She'll be right back. She's going to get some milk and some things from the store. And I said, okay, mommy. And as soon as she left and I heard the door locked, I called my cousin with the daughter. And I told her, you know, mommy left. So what do I do? Like, she left. So she told me out her own mouth to call 911 and let them know that you were home alone and you were scared. So I did. I wasn't scared because we've been left home alone plenty of times. So I wasn't scared, but I did what she asked. I called 911 and I told them I was scared. And put it this way, the police came. The police made it there before she did. But mind you, I knew the police was going to make it there. Now that I'm older, I didn't think they was going to make it there that fast while she was gone or when I was little because I didn't know how fast. But now that I'm older and I know how the area is, I should have known because the police station is like literally right there. So it took them nothing to get over there. But put it this way, long story short, which I know I say long story short all the time, but long story short for this specific thing right here is I called the police. I was nervous after I called the police. So right then and there told me that I must have did something wrong. I was going to get in trouble because your body tells you when something's not right. And that's exactly what was going on. My body, I got nervous. I got shaky. My cousin came over. The police came over. So the police got there first. I was scared to open the door. Then my cousin came. When my cousin came, I was there. My cousin was getting me dressed to take me while the police was there. My cousin, who was my mom, wound up getting back there. She's in shock because she sees all the police in her house. She sees my cousin in the house as well. She's arguing with my cousin. But when I say she was so mad at me, she was so furious with me. She was so upset with me that I just knew I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was going to die. I knew something was going to happen. But I got my ass whipped. Let's put it that way. I got my ass whipped for calling the police. She felt like I betrayed her. Her and her sister got into an argument. But okay, rewind. She felt like her sister betrayed her. She felt like I betrayed her. Her and her sister got into an argument about it. Her sister was telling her, you know, how you mistreating, how she was mistreating me and how the kids was eating different meals and how I leave the kids home alone. They was getting to a big argument. I can't remember word for word, but I know these was the specific things that they argued about. I know once the police left and my cousin left, because, you know, she was basically telling her, like, she's not taking me. That got into a big thing. The police wouldn't let her take me. So they would have to go through court and all that. They just can't take, she just couldn't take me. Um, After the police left and my cousin left, she told me my cousin who I call my mom told me not to talk to her. That I think she said some hateful things, like she hated me or some shit like that. She disliked me at the time. She was very disgusted in me. She couldn't believe I portrayed her like that. How can I call the police on her? How could you bite the hand that fed you? Mind you, I'm 5. I don't know nothing about biting the hand that fed you. I don't know nothing about betrayal. I don't know nothing. She said all these things to me, and I'm just like, I was terrified, but I could see the hurt in her eyes because she was literally in tears and crying. And now that I'm older, I could see why or understand why she was in tears and crying. It wasn't the fact that somebody was coming to take me. It was the fact that she had other kids there, and her kids, her own kids, could have been taken just for that little mindless thing that I did. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason she didn't get in trouble is because she literally explained that she went to the store, but she actually came back with the milk and stuff. And she was explaining to him, like, I was only going for like 5-10 minutes or whatever the case may be. But, you know, the police was like, well, you know, I don't really know how the conversation. I know they questioned because they were there for a little bit and she just came, but everybody came at once. So they can't really dictate whether it was true or not. You know, they go by phone calls, how long the call was and all this other stuff, etc., etc. Anyways, she was upset with me. I stayed clear from her. I did not bother her. I barely said things to her. I was scared to talk to her the next day. Being as kids, you want to speak to your parents or whatever because that's just something you do, you know. But I was so afraid growing up that when it was hard to talk to them. I got in trouble for everything. I got in trouble for having holes in my lawn drawings, brand new. If I just put them on and got a hole in them, you know, we tried to hide that. If we broke something by accident, we got in trouble for that. If we didn't do chores on time, we got in trouble for everything. If we dropped lint on the floor, we got in trouble. And it wasn't just trouble as in one parent discipline. It was always a tag team. You get what I'm saying? It was always, you know, you're getting a whooping by me, and then I'm calling your dad, and your dad is gonna whoop you. And this was going on for a while. So at this point, I don't even know if this was considered discipline or abuse. Now that I think about it, I don't know. But it was too much. It was too much. I was nowhere near as solid as I am now. I was always a little fragile, little skinny little girl, or whatever. But that event happened, and that took a toll. That took a real big toll on how our lives kind of shifted. That was the first shift. Now, or the second. The first shift would have been because she didn't want me because I was this AIDS baby, crack baby, whatever you want to call it, whatever she wanted to call it. Now, the second shift is now I done called the police on her, so I betrayed her. I showed her a side. She thought she could trust me and stuff. I was only 5. I don't know what she thought she was going to get out of me at 5. So now things are distancing and shifting. You get what I'm saying? So it caused the awkward moment that, you know, that just left a cold spot in the air. So things wasn't that cozy for a while in that home. One morning, after time went by, one morning we got up. I believe my cousin had to go to work or had an appointment or something. But either or, it required us not to be able to go with her. So due to the fact that we couldn't go with her, we all had to get dressed. And matter of fact, I don't even know if the boys was there, to be honest. I don't know if the boys was there. But I know it required us to get dressed. I know it required me to get dressed and me to go to Farragut, to my aunt, who is now my grandmother's house. My cousin, who is now my aunt, is the person that's watching me, I believe. And matter of fact, my cousins was there. He was playing the game, and I think the baby was asleep at the time. But we get over there. This is a place that I felt I wasn't wanted. I'm gonna be honest. I felt like I wasn't wanted as a kid. I felt like it was all about their kids, because those were her grandkids. I was just the niece. So I felt like I got treated differently. I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt like I got treated different. I didn't get the same treatment as they did. You know, everybody was really, I mean, I got the fake happy to see me, but everybody was really happy to see them, you know. And as a kid, you feel that. You feel that. That hurt. That hurt. Because you want the same excitement. You want somebody to be happy to see you. You know, I'm already going through this nobody wants me phase, and now I'm going here and I'm feeling unwanted. You know what I mean? As a little girl. So my cousin leaves, and I'm back there with the baby cousin. Now, this cousin was like a teenager at this time, or maybe in her early, like she's late teens, early 20s maybe, I'm guessing. Or maybe just a regular teenager. Either way you put it, she was at the age where she was sexual, intimate with something or someone. She was at that age. And I remember her calling me back there. And she had just got out the shower. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I remember her calling me back there. She had just got out the shower. And I went in her room, but I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm 5. I done seen naked bodies before. It wasn't, nothing different for me. And I remember her taking her towel off and asking me to come here, and I remember her laying on the bed. And she asked me to, this is so embarrassing. Oh my God. She asked me to lick her down there. She asked me to lick her down there. And I was confused. I didn't know what she meant. And she was just like, down there. And I was just like, okay, down there. And I did. I did. And I remember her telling me, oh my God. I remember her telling me, left, to the left, to the right type shit. This shit is so uncomfortable. Oh my God. Telling me like left, right. I can't tell you how long I was down there for. I can't tell you if I did something right, if I did something wrong. I can't tell you how it made me feel. Then it was different because we were family, but I was very young and this is happening to me. And I didn't tell anybody about this. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe she told me not to tell nobody about this and that I would get in trouble and that this would be our little secret or something like that. And I was just so confused because I was just trying to figure out, like, why am I going through this stuff? And I don't even know if this stuff is right to be going through. And as me being so young and so little and supposed to be so innocent, I'm being taken advantage of. Am I being taken advantage of because I was taken from my mom, so the protection that I was supposed to have wasn't there? Was I being taken advantage of because they just felt like nobody would believe me because they've been around each other for so long that, oh God, that they would believe them and think that I was lying? I just, now that I'm older, I'm just, I just don't understand, like, as an adult, how could you put a child through that? How and why would you want to put a child through that at that age? Oh my God. Oh God. Forgive me. Why would you want to put a child through that knowing that it's wrong, it's not right? No child should have to go through this or experience this at that age. You know what I mean? And no child should have to carry that burden on them at that age or even growing up should have to experience any of that. Me going through that, it's like, you know, it's like violating me. I wasn't able to properly give myself to someone. You know what I mean? I wasn't properly able to do that. And even though my mom didn't raise me and she was taken, nobody protected me. Nobody protected me like they would protect their own kids. I felt like I was just left out there, you know, alone. Everybody got me keeping all these secrets and all these things away from everybody else and away from the world, and I'm supposed to just carry this stuff on me. And growing up, me being so angry all the time. I was told all the time that I got an attitude, that I'm so angry and I got this attitude, and you know, you act like your mother, and it was just so much. It was just so much. And it's like, at this age, how can I not have so much attitude? Y'all got me carrying on weight that I'm not even supposed to have. I'm supposed to be playing with Barbie dolls and dolls and playing with the doll houses and stuff like that. Just all types of stuff. I'm supposed to be a little girl, you know, living in this painted world of freedom. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. Anywho, so with me being touched by not one but two men, that were close to the family, but not family. But I was also touched by a family member. Also touched by a family member. Me experiencing that, I had a best friend. I love my best friend. Um, her name was Connie. I could give that name out, but rest her soul. Her name was Connie, and I remember I used to go over to her house, and she would go over to my house, and I would stay the night over there, but mainly she would come stay the night over here at my house because her house was full of people and full of everybody, and I just liked being around her. Like, she lifted my spirits. She made me feel welcome, even though her family was a little all over the place. They made me feel welcome. I'm so emotional right now. They made me feel welcome, and one day she came to stay the night with me. Well, I wanted to stay the night over there, and I was told that I couldn't stay the night over there. So she asked if she could come stay the night over at my house, and it was a go. She was able to come stay the night. So when she came to stay the night, we played toys. We watched movies, but we played makeup. We played card games. We read books. We played Barbies. We did all types of little kid stuff. We didn't want to go outside. We was just so happy in the house. And it was time for bed. And I remember it was late. And I remember going up. We slept in because I think my cousins wasn't there. But I remember sleeping in a bunk bed. The bunk bed was not mine. It was the boys. I remember sleeping in the bunk bed because she slept on top. And I would think I was sleeping at the bottom, or I was sleeping with her. I think I slept on the top bunk with her. Anyways, I tried to touch my friend. She touched me and I touched her, but I introduced her to the touching because she wasn't familiar with this stuff. I introduced her at this time. I want to say we was like 6 or 7, I want to say. But I introduced her to this style. And I touched her. I went down on her. I didn't stay down there long, but I went down on her. And I touched her, and she touched me back. But we both were uncomfortable, so we didn't do anything else. It was just like a touch you a little bit, you touch me a little bit, oh, okay. Hands in your pants, but you're not really doing anything because we little girls, we don't know what we're doing. But I touched her and I introduced her to something that she was never introduced to. And we wound up going to bed and going to sleep because we felt like it was wrong. And it was. It was wrong. It wasn't right. I shouldn't have touched her, but nobody shouldn't have touched me. And if nobody touched me, I wouldn't have been able to introduce the touching to her. She was my best friend. And I was just introducing her to something that was introduced to me, thinking that this is okay. And now that I'm older, it's not okay. It's not okay at all. At all. As time went by, I noticed I liked a boy in my building. His name was Chris. He was so cute. He was so cute, and he found me cute, but that was my friend. But we liked each other, but he was my friend because, we didn't know nothing about liking. And even though I had my events or whatever, or, past trauma experiences at this time, I think I was like 7, 8 or something like that, like I was young. I was little. I was way young. And he lived on the first floor and I lived on the third floor and we lived in the same building. And we would hang out and chill. Like, it was never a problem. That was my buddy and I was his buddy. But one day we went upstairs to our neighbor's house. His name was Prince. And Prince was upstairs. He was a teenager. He's doing teenager stuff, you know. Got his little girlfriend coming by. So I guess I was supposed to be Chris' little girlfriend coming by. We was going upstairs to Prince's house. So I went to Prince's house and we was in there and at the time I didn't know what it was, but they was upstairs watching porn. And it's so funny because I can laugh at this now, but I remember they were the guy and the girl was having sex. Now I didn't know it was sex at the time, but I remember watching these two be intimate. My body would feel different. Like I would feel this little heartbeat bumping down here, and I would get this like nervous feeling over my body. And I remember Chris and I sitting on the bed and he's watching it, but he's watching it like he's been watching this for a long time. And mind you, Chris had to be like 2 years older than me. So if I was like 7, Chris had to be like 8, 9, okay? And so he's sitting there and we're sitting there and I'm watching. And I remember the guy ejaculating on a female. And I remember when the stuff was coming out, I remember me saying, "Oh, what's that white stuff? Is that milk?" I thought it was milk, and Chris started laughing at me because he thought it was so funny because I didn't know what that was. I'd never seen it before. First of all, I'd never even seen any of these parts before. Like, this female has boobs, you know, it's a penis there, it's a vagina. Like, this is all parts that I've never seen besides on my body. I mean, I was flat chested at the time, but I'm looking and I'm like, all this looks different. All this stuff looks different. Like, I never seen a man part before, so this was just all crazy, right? Besides what I've been through. So I'm just looking like, oh, wow. So Chris thought this shit was so funny. And he was like, "No, silly." He was like, "That's sperm." And I asked him what sperm was. And I remember him explaining to me, sperm is what can get a female pregnant. Now, he ain't tell me nothing about no STD. He just said that's the stuff that come out the man to get the female pregnant. And so I remember Chris kissed me. Now, I ain't gonna front. I think I really like it. Wasn't no tongue. He kissed me, like he pecked me, but I felt uncomfortable, but I felt special at the same time because it was Chris. You know what I'm saying? It was Chris. It was like, you know, my little crush done kissed me, but I didn't become nervous until Chris laid me back. And when he laid me back on the bed and he was trying to like do what they was doing on the TV, I remember me saying, no, we can't do this, Chris, because I don't want to get pregnant. I was 7. Now, I ain't saying that I couldn't get pregnant probably at 7, but it was in my mind. That's what he put in my mind. And I just felt like if I get pregnant, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm already in enough trouble doing my own stuff without doing my own stuff. And he would start laughing at me again. He was like, "You ain't going to get pregnant. You're not going to get pregnant." And I don't know what happened, but I'm not sure if I told him I was uncomfortable or somebody came in or something. All I know is we sat back up and we ended up in the living room. And I believe he was a gentleman about it because I think he said, "If you're uncomfortable, we don't got to do it or nothing," or something like that. Chris was real respectful. Even though he liked me, he was real respectful, but he was just trying to experience stuff too as well. So as what I'm taking it as. But I liked Chris, and that was my little puppy love back then. But again, I'm having these moments in my life, right? So I remember I caught myself at one point looking at boys, knowing that I think I like boys because I like Chris. But then I would catch myself looking at females and liking females. Not just beauty-wise, but I was looking at their bottoms. And I was always looking at their bottoms, and I was trying to figure out, like, why am I so intrigued with women bottoms? But I never really questioned it. I just was like, I found myself looking at women bottoms. This is a little weird to me, right? But it never dwelled on me that I was being traumatized of my events. And at this point, not knowing what's right or what's wrong. If I should like boys or if I should like girls. If touching is bad or if touching is not bad. Nobody gave me these talks. The only talks I had growing up was nobody touched you there and nobody touched you here but your mommy and your daddy. You know, if anybody touched you there, you know, you let me know. That was it. There was no real, like, and not to sit on men's laps. And not your daddy's neither. You don't sit on no man's lap. You're a little girl. You know, that was it. It was never no real structure on, you know, what's good touch, what's bad touch. Can dad wash me if mom's not available? What's good touch, what's bad touch? What's right, what's wrong? Nobody made me comfortable enough to want to say, hey, somebody touched me. This person made me do this. You know why? Because I was already walking on eggshells in that house. We were already getting in trouble for things that I wouldn't even allow my son to get in trouble for. Like, if he put a hole in his lawn johns, he just put a hole in his lawn johns. He just won't get another pair for a while. Of course, I'm going to say, why would you put a hole in your lawn johns for? But I wasn't going to whip his behind because he did something like that. You know, we got in trouble for every little thing, every little thing. So you think I was comfortable enough to go and say, hey, somebody touched me. Somebody touched me in my no-no square. No, I was not. So I kept it all bottled up. And the more I kept bottled up, the more I got angry with life. The more I thought about my mom. The more I wanted to be with my mom. The more I felt like she didn't care no more. Why? Because phone calls started to decrease in phone calls. You know, at least I thought phone calls were decreasing. But they weren't. They were keeping phone calls from me. There's just so much going on. They were keeping phone calls from me, from my mom. Shit be wild. People do some wild shit. Word. Just to get their way. Like, money is the root of all evil, and if you don't believe that shit, I am a walking testimony of it. Okay? I was a paycheck to these individuals. I wasn't a human being, a child who needed love and protection and happiness. It was none of that. You know, it was, this child needs somewhere to stay, we're just going to take care of this child. I was a check. I was a check. I was a check. And when CPS got involved, it was a whole lot of stuff going on. A whole lot. Unnecessary things. This shit crazy. I want to say to all the parents out there, whether you're in your kid's life or not in your kid's life, or if somebody else has your child and is raising your child temporarily or permanently, stay in contact with your child. Your job is to protect your child. Talk to your children. Explain to them that it's okay for them to come and speak with you about any and everything. Explain to them that they will not be in trouble for opening their mouth for somebody else hurting them or making them feel a sort of way, or for someone doing something that they was not supposed to do to them, or making them do something to other people when they're not supposed to. Protect them. You have to be their voice. You have to show them love. You have to show them that you're there, that you're not angry with them. Because there's so many kids out there that feel alone, that feel like they don't know what to do, even though it's told. Talk to them. Love your kids. Hold your kids. Hold your babies. Look at different signs, how they're moving, how they're acting. Talk to your kids. Love your babies. God didn't grant you these babies for somebody else to take advantage of them or anything. And if you are a kid and you're watching this, or a teenager, or early 20s, 30s, however old you are, starting from the kids. If you're a kid and someone touches you or make you touch them inappropriately, just understand you will not be the one getting in trouble. Nothing will happen to you. Speak up. Tell someone. Tell someone you trust. Tell someone that makes you feel safe, so they can take care of the situation and protect you and give you the protection and the safety that you need. And for you teenagers and early adults and late adults and midway there, if you have a story and you feel like you can't speak or let out, let this be your opening segment right here. Let this be your confirmation that it's okay. You're not the only one. Speak your truth. Don't hold on to those burdens. Them same people that put them burdens on you, give them back. Give them back to them. Stand them in the eye and tell them, you did this to me. I remember what you did. And it's no longer my burden. I will not carry this burden on my shoulders. I will not carry this as a weight towards me. I will not have anything to do with this. You've been trapped long enough. Let it out. It's okay. Let it out. Give it back to them. Let them die with that. Let them take that to the grave. You should not have to take that burden to the grave with you. We all have past trauma. The only problem about our past trauma is we don't never want to get to the nitty gritty. We never want to get to the core. We know what the core is, but we only speak of bits and pieces of the core, like a piece of corn on a cob. We don't get to the core. You're picking little pieces of the corn off instead of eating and getting straight to the core of the cob. Don't nibble. We only tell people what we want them to know. We don't tell people what they should know about us and why we're so fragile and why we're so hurt, or why we walk with a chip on our shoulder, or why we're always looking around, observing our areas, why some of us keep our babies so more attached than so much more free than others. Because past trauma puts you in a mindset of what you need to do in your present. And sometimes our past trauma ain't doing nothing sometimes but harming ourselves. We have to open up, speak out, and let it go. And that's what I'm doing. I'm letting go. I've been let go. But I feel like somebody needed to hear this and understand that they're not the only ones. I just wish I just wish I had a time machine. Because I wish I could go back and rewind, like rewind all the way before I was even born and just see how my mother's life was and if things could have been turned around for the better, how things would have been if I would have been with her. Because the family I was with between those ages weren't shit. They weren't shit at all. Yeah, they took care of me. They did what they needed to do, I guess. But I wasn't safe and I wasn't protected and I wasn't comfortable enough to open up and feel like it was okay to speak. Now, I think if I was with my original cousin I was supposed to be with, I think things would have been a little different. But that's another story, here or there. And they sit here and say, family's all you got. Sometimes the family ain't shit. The family would be the first to fuck you over and do some shit to you that they ain't supposed to been doing. They too busy worried about themselves and what they can get out of life.